Update. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad he chose between me and his fiancée when he prioritized her surgery over mine? Original post. I, 17 female, have had a rocky relationship with my dad. My parents married after I was born, hoping to provide a stable family for me. But they divorced when I was 11 after my dad went to rehab, and things only worsened from there. During rehab, he met his current fiancée, and they later had a kid, 6 female. Since then, my dad has been mostly absent from my life. Whenever I have important events, he either has an excuse or doesn't show. I'd estimate he's been present for less than half of my events since their divorce. A few years ago, I was diagnosed with scoliosis, and initially, surgery wasn't needed. However, my condition got worse, and I was finally scheduled for surgery on November 20th, 2024. I told my dad about it months ago, expressing how much I needed his support this time, and he promised he'd be there. But later, he texted to say he'd planned a vacation that would keep him away until mid-December, just as my recovery period would be ending. It broke my heart, but I accepted it. Then, 2 hurricanes hit his vacation spot, and he told me he'd make my surgery. I felt a glimmer of hope. But then, just a week before my surgery, he texted again, saying his fiancée's lung cancer surgery had been scheduled for the same day, a few hours before mine, at a hospital 30 minutes away. He said he might not make it to my surgery, but with him, might not usually means won't. He added that this wasn't about who he loved more. That message shattered me. I realized that no matter how much I hoped, he might never give me the attention and support I needed. I broke down on my kitchen floor that day. After sitting with my feelings, I texted him to tell him how deeply his actions hurt me. I said it wasn't only about love, but about showing care and that he'd given me hope only to let me down again. I questioned if his fiancée's surgery had really been scheduled last minute, or if he had known earlier but hadn't told me. I asked him to show he was my dad through his actions, not just his words. He responded, insisting the surgery was only scheduled the day he'd told me. But because he's lied in the past to save face, I reached out to someone who might know the truth. I then sent a follow-up message, clarifying that my frustration wasn't with his fiancée. It was with his ongoing absence and lack of support. I said that even if his reasons were genuine, he could have at least shown some empathy. I told him I hoped he'd be a better father for my half-sister than he has been for me. In a final message, I made it clear that I was done putting in all the effort to maintain our relationship on my own. I told him that if he wanted to be my dad, I would gladly be his daughter, but if he chose not to, I would be fine with that too. He hasn't responded, and honestly, I'd prefer he sit with what I've said. For once, I hope he really thinks about his actions and the impact they've had on me. So, am I the a-hole? Edit. For anyone asking, Dad met his fiancée before leaving us. Had my sister in the oven before leaving us. She will be 7 on the 24th of next month. It's possible he cheated, and it's not hard to deduce that. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Girl, your father hasn't shown up for you your entire life. What makes you think he is going to do it now? And furthermore, why do you allow him to have that power over you? He is not your father. He is the male who impregnated your mother. Stop elevating him to father status. This man is going to support the person he is making his life with, not the child he walked away from years ago. He doesn't prioritize you, and he never will, no matter what words he uses or promises he makes. Good luck with your surgery and focus on your recovery. Thank you, I will. Now for the first update. First of all, thank you for your support. All of your opinions mean the world to me and really opened my eyes to this. Here are some questions I was asked, and here's what I can answer. 1. His child is in school / he has to take care of her. No, not really. She is homeschooled and doesn't know how to spell, but that problem is for another day. His bio mom, my grandma, can take her to and from the 2 hospitals. However, I asked that he come the day after or the next. 2. What stage is her cancer / more defined timeline? I don't remember ever being told what stage her cancer is. In October 2023, my dad told me she had a tumor in her lungs, but didn't say the stage. I don't know how the law works regarding who gets a say in her surgery, but the fiancé has a great relationship with her parents, ex-husband, adult daughter, and siblings. As far as I know, he doesn't tell me anything. This was planned as of the day he texted me, and they had the option to choose the day before, but the doctor pushed them for my surgery day. 3. You have your mother for decision-making. I don't need my dad for those decisions. I needed him at my surgeries so I could have a cushion and reassurance that he would be there for me. 4. He could still very well make it. Yes, that is a chance. It's fine if he doesn't. When he gets called out for mistakes or yelled at, he shrivels and goes cold. He probably won't. I told his fiancée good luck, and the person I talked to says he is telling the truth. Does he provide quality support for you when he does show up? It sounds like he's more the kind of person whose presence would just make everything miserable and maybe make your mom uncomfortable. I can't really imagine how he could be so absent and unreliable, yet loving and comforting enough to support you during surgery. I hear and see on media that when someone goes through surgery, both parents are there because they love them and want to see them before they go into something scary. Like my surgery, they are putting 2 rods through my entire back. The only reason I had to push it to November and April was because I didn't want to miss my last year of marching band/Halloween, even though there were options in summer. Anyway, I would say the idea of him and the effort of being at my surgery was enough comfort for me, even though he doesn't really do anything else when he shows up. Second update 3 months later. Hey guys, it's been a while. Thanks for your love. I've been dragging my feet on an update, but here it is. Surgery recovery has been great. I've been in therapy since I was 12, so my therapist knows everything about my dad. Love that people across all platforms think my dad is just a sperm donor and not a real dad. Senior night is on Valentine's Day. I told him weeks in advance, saying, games start at 7 usually, but I would get to the school 30 minutes early since we will probably do it before the game. I texted his mom, Grandma, to ask him if he was going, and he texted her, "Oh, I never got a date. She doesn't tell me anything." BS. I told her I'll go no contact if he doesn't go, and I will go low contact if he does. If he wants to know, he can freaking ask and write it in his calendar. I told my mom to stop staying neutral and tell me why he acts like this. The relationship is almost ruined, so there is no point in her trying to save it. He likes to play the victim, tries to make it sound like my mom doesn't want him around, and uses it as an excuse to make himself look like a good guy. I've seen text messages from when I was younger of my mom trying to get my dad to make an effort. I showed her the first post, so I'll send her this one too. Hi Mom, the Kindle had screenshots of some convos. I love you. I saw them in August when I found it, so I've known for a while. I see my mom in a new light now. She will be walking me down the aisle and dancing with me at my wedding. She sacrificed so much of herself for me. She is not only my mom, but also my dad. For non-Americans, senior night usually involves seniors and their chosen people walking them across the floor. My dad walked me down for my fall senior night, but he will not be one of my people this Friday. I am desperate to keep contact with my sister. I know Grandma will help me with that. I know that if his fiancé and my dad break up, he will do the same thing to my sister. Friday came and passed. My dad got mad when he realized I didn't want him to walk me across the gym floor. He, along with Grandma and my sister, left during halftime. We did the walk before the varsity game, and pep band can't leave the stands until the 3rd quarter, same as marching band. Plus, Grandma has been to previous basketball and football games. I left my dad a long voicemail and message on Friday for leaving, especially since my sister begged to see me, and he refused her. I told Mima I was disappointed that she left when she knew what happens at games. Monday, I finally sent him my boundaries and blocked him. I know I'm going to cry later. This is going to be hard for me. Thanks for your support. It means a lot to me throughout this journey. Hi, I'm you 30 years in the future. He doesn't change. For your own well-being, move on with your life without him in it. Heck, I'm 30 now. I can say the same thing. He won't change. He'll call you once, maybe twice a year when it's convenient for him. Maybe send gifts that show how much he doesn't know who you are or what interests you. Maybe not. He'll send you the occasional pity party call or text. Call me. We don't talk enough, etc. Honestly, it's easier if he just forgets you exist and doesn't reach out at all. Easier to not get your hopes up. Your mom did the same thing mine did. He doesn't see who he's missing out on, watching you grow, learn, and succeed in life. Or being there to support you when you fall. Ain't worth the heartache trying to chase what ain't there. Yep, some dads just don't get it. No point in chasing what's not there. So what happened with the surgeries? It's not really an update to skip ahead multiple months and not touch on anything around the original posting. Did he make it to visit you? How's the lung cancer outlook? He won't tell me about her surgery, and he visited once for 30 minutes. I don't count it as a visit since he was either on his phone, handling my sister, or avoiding eye contact. Plus, I had to poop in order to get discharged, so I was going up every 10 minutes needing to try. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mother-in-law it's not my fault she married a deadbeat and to figure it out? So, I'm 25 and my husband is 28. We just had our first baby 4 days ago. I was just released from the hospital yesterday. My mother-in-law is bombarding my husband with calls because she's old and sick and wants him to take care of her. My husband took 2 weeks off work to stay home with me and the baby, to care for me after the C-section and bond with our daughter. Mother-in-law took that as him being free and available and refuses to acknowledge that he's not on vacation. It hasn't been easy. There were complications, and I lost a lot of blood. I'm in a lot of pain, to the point where I can't even stand up on my own. Our baby is very fussy and cries a lot. We're not really sleeping because she literally cries every hour. The first time mother-in-law called was literally 3 minutes after I gave birth, wanting him to go to her because she wasn't feeling well. She kept calling every hour while I was still in the hospital. My husband stayed with me the entire time because, like I said, I lost a lot of blood and wasn't feeling well. He put his phone on Do Not Disturb and didn't turn it on until I was discharged. We were still in the hospital parking lot when she called. He answered, and when he explained the situation, she lost her absolute mind, so he ended the call. She hasn't stopped calling him since, and he blocked her number last night at 4 a.m. after 73 calls from her. She started calling me this morning, and I tried to be polite, but after 15 calls between 7 a.m. and 3 p.m., where she called me names, yelled at me, and insulted me, I snapped and told her to leave us alone because we have a newborn at home. She said she doesn't understand why he can't go to her because her husband never took care of her after she gave birth and wasn't really involved with the kids until they were 3 to 4 years old. I told her it's not my fault she married and had kids with a deadbeat and to leave us alone and figure her own problems out like an adult. My husband is on my side, but we're obviously biased, considering the amount of stress we're under at the moment. So I'm asking, because I don't know if it's just the stress and hormones and we're actually the problem, or if she is out of her mind to expect my husband to leave me alone at home in this condition. I'm posting here because I need unbiased opinions. I feel like an ass for what I said, and even if it's deserved, I should have worded my frustrations better. Now for the top comments. Was she in need before? Have you just disappeared and abandoned her? She has diabetes, and that's it. She's not bedridden or in need of 24-hour care. She just hates not being the center of attention, which is why her other kids went no contact, and father-in-law divorced her. She is fully capable of taking care of herself and being independent. My husband was already low contact with her before this, after she told him she didn't care about my pregnancy, when he refused to go watch a movie with her because we were having a prenatal checkup. I mean, it kind of depends. By old and sick, does that mean she just wants a servant to order around? Or does that mean she's at death's door and actually needs help standing up and getting to the bathroom? My mother pretended she was in the latter situation. I moved literally 11 time zones to take care of her in her final days. And now she's well on her way to unaliving me because she's an obnoxious, entitled, thankless, 24/7 bitch mode miser who is going to outlive me thanks to all the stress. And my already had 2 strokes and waiting on a final 1 damaged cerebrovascular mess. She's 71 with diabetes, but she's fully capable of being independent. She's fully mobile and can very well take care of herself. She just hates not getting attention from everyone. Not the a-hole. Your mother-in-law is behaving entitled. And congratulations on the baby. Entitled and insane. Block her. Don't unblock until you can walk. If she still acts like a crazy person, block her again. Rinse and repeat until she learns to not act insane. I agree with the insane part too. She's just losing her mind. And kudos to husband for standing up to her and protecting you. She will end up completely alone if she keeps this up, with no relationship with her grandbaby. Fafo. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not taking my father-in-law's last name after getting married? Hi all. I got married to my husband a year ago, and I am still wondering if I'm an a-hole. Before we got married, my husband and I talked and agreed that I could keep my current last name. It never occurred to me that I should tell anyone about our decision not to change my last name. At our wedding, the pastor announced us as Mr. John and Mrs. Jane, fake names for anonymity. No last name was announced. But I guess I did mention to my new sister-in-law that I was keeping my name. I'm not sure if she told my in-laws intentionally to cause conflict, or if she actually didn't realize I hadn't told them. Anyways, once we got back from our honeymoon and finished moving into our new house, my husband's parents invited us over. What I thought was going to be a nice first visit as husband and wife quickly turned into a fight. My father-in-law said he had to have a serious conversation with me, and he began talking about how great and wonderful his last name is, and how people will automatically respect me in his community just because I would have the same name as him. I calmly as I could, I was so upset at this point I could hardly talk, told him my reasons for not wanting to change my name. 1. It's complicated and expensive to change IDs and such. 2. My current last name is unique. I've never met another person outside of my family with it. 3. My home business and degree were established under my current name. None of these reasons were good enough for him. He replied, well, other daughter-in-law changed her name, and she has the same degree as you. And then mother-in-law said it didn't cost her any money to change her name, but that was 40 years ago. Things change. I said, I don't feel that I further need to justify my decision to you since you're not listening or understanding my perspective. Now, father-in-law says I am insulting him by rejecting his name, and all his friends are going to suspect something is wrong and that I am making a mistake and that no one will respect me. I am full-on crying at this point, and all I could do was stand and say, I am going home. As we are walking out, father-in-law stands up and throws his hands up in a surrendering gesture, saying, I'm just trying to have a conversation. I think I could be the a-hole for 2 reasons here. 1. For not publicly announcing my intentions to keep my maiden name. 2. For walking out mid-conversation with my new in-laws. Not the a-hole. At all. It's your name. No one gets to tell you what it should or shouldn't be. I'd say if anyone is disrespecting other people's names, it's your father-in-law for not thinking your name is as good as his. The fact that he was so rude in his expression of his opinion only further proves you are not the a-hole for walking out and avoiding any more conflict, as most people would have done much worse. Thank you for your thoughts. I never considered that he was disrespecting my name, but makes sense. It also wasn't OP's responsibility to break the news to her father-in-law and ask permission to keep her name. If her husband thought this would be so traumatizing for his father, he should have had a conversation with him. And husband should have defended his wife against this attack. Not the a-hole. It's none of his damn business, honestly. You can keep your last name, take your husband's, both of you can pick a new one, or your husband could take your last name. My advice is stop trying to please those people because they sound impossible. Yes, I've realized it's impossible to please them. I would love to pick a new name with husband, but he's not on board with that idea.